Well, not even after just one day into the playoff action, my bracket is already busted. And while it wasn't this game, that was the game that my bracket is busted. It's actually the next one that I'll do the review between the Galaxy versus Nashville SC. This one, it looked like for a bit that it was going to be the one that my bracket was going to be busted after just one playoff game that is happening, though you just knew that the Red Bulls were going to do it that so Metro moment. Like, as soon as FC Cincinnati got the equalizer in this one, everybody knew what was going to happen in this one, and it's definitely not going to be in favor of the Red Bulls. But early on, in the first half, I thought it was a very wide open game, and this is something we usually don't see in the playoffs, where, especially in the single elimination playoffs, you usually see kind of a game where it can be a little bit tight in the beginning. Not much can happen in the first 20, 30, or even the entire first half, because you don't want to concede that goal to go behind the 8 ball for the rest of the game. But that was not the case. I mean, both of these teams were going for it in the first 5 minutes, though, there wasn't really a lot of chances. Despite that, there was only one shot through the first 12 minutes of this game, though those chances would come in the 13th minute as Amaya would hit one right to Salatano before Acosta also hits a one-hopper right to Cornell. Morgan then fires it high from long range in the 15th minute, and again, both of these teams finally started getting some good half opportunity, and they were looking for the breakthrough. Amaya tried to do so, but his shot was deflected and it goes wide, and then Barrial on the other end puts it high on the free kick. And then Alvis Powell, well, yeah, he had a Kevin Cabral moment here as he went through on goal. Looked like he has a chance to basically give Cincinnati the goal, but he miscontrolled it in the vital moment. And yeah, that is exactly a definition of a Kevin Cabral moment. I mean, if you're a Galaxy fan, you know what I'm talking about, and that was not a great moment for Alvis Powell and certainly for FC Cincinnati. Though on the other end, there was a shout for a penalty for the Red Bulls that was not given, and then there was a very loud FU ref chant ring out at Red Bull Arena. I mean, you know that when a game is taking place in New York or a place taking place in Philadelphia in general, you know that the whole ref you suck kind of chant, that might sound kind of lame. And here they basically go the explicit level by deciding to do that. But when I look on that call, I don't think there was really much in terms of saying that should be a penalty kick. But of course the crowd don't think so, and they definitely wants to remind the referee that not only he sucks, but he is definitely the biggest villain at that point at Red Bull Arena. There was then some pushing and shoving between both of these teams, because after all, this is a playoff game. There's going to be some intensity that was going to show. But in the 45th minute, Salatano did tip Morgan's shot over, and we head to halftime scoreless between both of these teams. But we won't remain scoreless for long heading into the second half, because in the 48th minute, Lewis Morgan, what a banger of a goal that is. And I think, when I did the preview and also talk about the Red Bulls in this one thing that, I mentioned how they don't really have a difference maker on the attack. Well, if there is one player that I will say that maybe could be the difference maker, is Lewis Morgan. I mean, he has come up big time and time again this season, and he did it again with an absolute banger of a goal there to give the Red Bulls a 1-0 lead. Though on the other end, Cornell would rob Brenner from point blank header in the front post. I mean, that was just an incredible save by Carlos Cornell, because Brenner, given his form, he is going to be a guy that you think that he definitely would put that one in the back of the net, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be thinking about that. Well, you probably won't think about after Cincinnati eventually did get the come from behind victory, but if they didn't, then he's going to definitely be thinking about that one, because that was just such a glorious opportunity for him and Cincinnati to get the equalizer. Though in the 60th minute, it looked like Cincinnati got the equalizer as Cameron would actually deflect a shot into the back of net, but the only problem is he was in an offside position, and when they go to VAR to see whether that's the case, I mean, it was clear as daylight that Jeff Cameron was in an offside position, and he basically deflected that shot in because of it. So yeah, that of course was always going to be called back, and it did. But that was also a warning for the New York Red Bulls, because again, the Red Bulls, I feel like they just cannot just sit on this lead and hope to bunker in and hold on to a 1-0 lead, because they know the history of their playoff fertility and the fact that also Cincinnati has a lot of dangerous weapon on the attack and can easily overcome this 1-0 deficit. Edelman did try to get the Red Bulls the 2-0 lead, but he blasts one into Rosette from close range. But then in the 72nd minute, A penalty was given to Cincinnati after Reyes brought down Acosta in the box. Yeah, this was not a great moment for Andres Reyes. I mean, there was really no need for him to make a clumsy challenge there on Acosta because he wasn't even anywhere close to going through on goal. But nevertheless, a penalty was given, and Acosta, of course, that won the penalty. He would be the one that takes the penalty, and he smashed that one in to tie the game up at 1 apiece. And I think everybody knew what was going to happen after this. And you know, I said you have a sense that so Metro moment is bound to happen, and I think that's just an understatement because I think every Red Bulls fans know that they've seen the story time and time again, not just for the past couple of years, but really the existence of this team, and that it feels like it is about to happen, and it's almost like Red Bulls fans saying, let's just get this over with. We know what's going to happen. Vasquez would then miss wide from close in the 79th minute before there was a chaos in the Red Bulls box after Cornell missed his punch as he was coming out, and it took a couple of deflection, and the ball was actually goal bound. It looked like it was one of those scrappy goals I mean, if that one went in, I would say that every Red Bulls fan would say, yeah, that is the most Metro moment as possible. That is exactly the heartbreak and the kind of curse that this team has gone through, where no matter what happened, this team cannot win a playoff game in the last couple of years. And if that goal went in, that would have been a goal that summarized it. But somehow Sean Nealis with a goal line clearance there to clear that one off. But that heroic was all forgotten just 2 minutes later, because in the 86th minute, Cincinnati did get that second and what would be the winning goal in this one, as Brendan Vasquez would score from Santo and Umbudo to give Cincinnati a 2-1 lead, and that was just terrible defending from the New York Red Bulls, especially on Aaron Long part, and that this is definitely a huge concern for not only the New York Red Bulls, but also for or not FC Cincinnati, but for the U.S. men's national team. I mean, FC Cincinnati will absolutely take that, but it's a huge concern for the U.S. men's national team, because this was supposed to be the guy that maybe will be the guy that lock in alongside with Walker Zimmerman in that center back partnership. By the way, those two players that is projected to potentially be the center back partnership, both of those players are going to be not playing until the World Cup does happen, because as I'll say in the next video, Nashville of course got eliminated against the LA Galaxy. For those that, you know, a little bit spoiler alert for those that don't know what happened in the other game. But yeah, that is a huge concern, because yeah, you simply cannot let that like this, if that Aaron Long gets beat that easily in this game, I wonder what happened if he's gonna have to face against some of the best player in the World Cup. And this is where, you know, I know the center back kind of question hasn't been really been talked about, because, you know, for the U.S. men's national team, the big question has always been the number 9 position and the goalkeeping situation. But what about the defensive area? Like, I know theoretically the national team has been doing very well on the defensive end, but that is mainly because both Walker Zimmerman and Miles Robinson has been an absolute rock to this defense. And knowing the fact that Robinson is not going to the World Cup because he's torn his ACL a couple of months ago, I mean, again, it's been a huge question in that spot. And that, again, I think this goal alone, you got to question that, you know, I'm pretty sure Greg Berhalter probably watched this game too, and you definitely got to question the fact that, yeah, is Aaron Long maybe the absolute lock to be that center back partnership, or is he going to be maybe thinking about getting a couple of players that also are kind of in the fringe of potentially be starting in the World Cup in the defensive area. But either way, you know, if Long is going to start there, let's just hope he's not going to have these kind of moments, because, you know, I said that this, of course, is a bad moment for him, but we've seen this before too from him. He has not had a great season for the Red Bulls, and that, you know, you talk about this is the guy that's supposed to be in the back line and along with Zimmerman there, and that this is also where a lot of U.S. fans are not confident whatsoever coming into this World Cup with the teams that they have. Now, that being said, Long did try to make up for it, as he was looking for an instant response, but his header is denied by Salvatano. Nealis then hits one right to Salvatano, and there was no doubt the Red Bulls were throwing the kitchen sink. Like, they definitely want to avoid another that so Metro moment. In fact, they actually had a lot of time to do so, because it turns out there was 12 minutes of stoppage time. I think that was kind of like a long stoppage in the middle of the second half, so therefore there was a lot of stoppage time in this one, and I'm pretty sure Cincinnati fans, their butt must be stuck on the edge of the seat for a while, because you know how we talk about ass clinching or butt clinching, if you want to stay PG in this video, and talk about how fans are just they're on the edge of the seat because I'm pretty sure Cincinnati fans have known all the heartbreak that they've suffered ever since they came into the league, and that 12 minutes, I mean, that is just an eternity. That must be the longest 12 minutes I think any Cincinnati fans have ever had to sit through watching their team play. Klimala had a chance in the 5th minute of stoppage time, but he hits one right to Sautano before Token actually blasted high on the free kick. And despite the fact that Cincinnati was literally doing every way to waste time, like they really shithoused a lot in stoppage time, and that was a little bit surprising. Maybe the referee was going to play a little bit longer, because Cincinnati did try everything to shithouse their way to hold on to this lead. But in the end, they were able to do so as they won 2-1 in this one. And the shots in this one, 16 shots for the 12 that Cincinnati had, 7 shots on goal for the 6 that Cincinnati has, 6 shots off target for the 4 that Cincinnati has, 3 shots that was blocked for the 2 that Cincinnati has, and both of these teams have 50% in terms of possession as FC Cincinnati. I mean, again, I don't think anybody is surprised that they are moving on, because this was definitely a very popular upset pick, and especially with the way that, a combination of Cincinnati doing very well on the road and the New York Red Bulls continue to have these kind of playoff fertility that will now continue for another season. Yeah, I don't think anybody is surprised with this result. But even then, this has to be, Cincinnati fans have been over the moon with the way that, again, whatever happens from now on, if they do eliminate it in the next round, it's still considered a successful season, because nobody thought that this team would get to the playoffs, let alone win a playoff game. But for the New York Red Bulls, as I'll do in the moving forward series, unfortunately, I will once again hammer the problem that this team has, and this team just simply cannot get over the hump, and now just simply can't even get over the hump of winning a playoff game, as I believe this is now the 4th straight playoff game that the New York Red Bulls have lost, going back to 2018. But there you have it. That is pretty much it for the review of this game. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this game? And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.